Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the Washington football team's 5 biggest needs entering the 2021 NFL draft, and I'll give you guys a few players at each position that I think they should consider in the draft. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. So let's get right into the video. And I'm not going to include quarterback on this list because I do think it's pretty obvious we do need a quarterback of the future. So the first position on this list where I think we definitely need to upgrade is the linebacker position. I mean, you look at our linebackers right now and it's not very pretty. You got John Bostic, Josh Harvey-Clemens, Cole Holcomb, David Mayo, Khaleke Hudson, Jared Norris. You don't have much there, and no doubt they need to take a linebacker, either in the first round, second round, or in the third round with one of their top 4 picks, because they do have 2 third-round picks. They have to take a linebacker, and some options that would be intriguing. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, as that will linebacker. He's weighed in at about 220 pounds at his pro day, about 6'1". This past year, at Notre Dame, 3 passes defended, 1.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 interception. A good coverage linebacker, solid in the run game. Does struggle at times with his tackling, but I do really like him. He's a freak of nature, an absolute beast, really good athlete, and I think he has a lot of these traits that will translate to the NFL. Only concern is if they don't view him as a true linebacker, if they view him as, kind of a strong safety, then I probably wouldn't take him, just because we already kind of have someone like that in Landon Collins, and Cameron Curl is also a strong safety. But if they view him as a linebacker, then I would really like this pick. You look at Thomas Davis, was a safety in college and transitioned to linebacker and played really well. So I like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Micah Parsons, obviously would love him at 19, but that's not very, very realistic. I would be okay trading up a few spots to get him, because it is a position of need and he's the best linebacker in this class. But I'm not willing to trade up, into the top 10 to get Micah Parsons, but I think he would be a great options. And then you got Zaven Collins, maybe if they trade back, if they can get Zaven Collins at like 23, 24, or later. I really like him, very versatile, reminds me a little bit of Anthony Barr in his play style. I like him as well. Jamin Davis maybe in the late first if we trade back, and then some second to third round guys, Jabril Cox, Surratt from UNC, Pete Werner is probably like a third rounder, Baron Brownrigg, another guy from Ohio State. So there's a lot of linebackers this year in the draft that we could go after. Nick Bolton as well in the first, second, or third round. And I do think we need to find someone, and whoever it is, probably if we do draft someone in the first or second round at the linebacker position, I would think they're probably gonna start right away if everything goes to plan. So the next position is tight end, and not necessarily we need to get a starting tight end, but our depth at the tight end position is absolutely horrendous. I mean, you look at it right now, we got Logan Thomas, love him, and then we got Marcus Baugh, and then Hemingway, and we did sign Sammis Reyes, who I like, but he's a developmental guy. We need someone this year in the draft, relatively early, first 4 rounds. I think we do need to address the tight end position, bring in some depth, another pass catcher. Brevin Jordan would be a solid option, about 6'3", 245 pounds. And this year, at Miami, had 576 yards and 7 touchdowns. Pretty quick, pretty good athlete. Tommy Tremble from Notre Dame, a really good blocker at the tight end position, probably the best one in this class. Didn't do much in the passing game, but he wasn't utilized as much because they had other guys there that were great in the passing game. So I think at the next level, if he can develop into a solid pass catcher, he's going to be one of the best tight ends in this class. So those 2 guys I like. Hunter Long and Trey McKitty are some solid options as well in the third, fourth, and later rounds. So that those tight end, we don't necessarily need to find an immediate starter, but someone that can be a backup this year, and with some upside if we do not extend Logan Thomas after this year. So the next position, it's not a huge need, but I do think it would be a good idea to get an upgrade on the left tackle position, especially, and here's the key thing, if they view Sadiq Charles as a true left tackle, then I'm fine if they don't make a huge upgrade at that position in the draft in the first, second round. But if they view him as a guard, I do think, getting a left tackle in the first couple rounds is a good idea, just because Cornelius Lucas, he did play well, but it was over a short period of time, and in that period of time, he did get hurt, and he's a free agent this past year, and who knows if that level of play that he had last year is sustainable. So I think drafting someone doesn't necessarily have to be in the first round, although there are some solid options. I think it would be a good idea because, left tackle is probably the third most important position in football behind quarterback and edge rusher. Christian Darrisaw is a good option. He's about 6'5", 322 pounds, played at Virginia Tech, and I think he's a good pass blocker, really, really good run blocker, very athletic, and he has those traits, that can translate to the next level. And we have a very good offensive line coach that can help develop him. So him, Christian Darrisaw in the first round would be a solid option. Maybe Tevin Jenkins in the first round. I think 19 is a little bit too early for him, but I wouldn't be upset with that as well. And then Liam Eichenberg is another solid option in that second round range. I really like him. He has some really good traits. Played at Notre Dame, could play left tackle, could even play guard, but ideally, if you're drafting someone in that second round, you probably want him to play tackle. So I think tackle is another position that we do need to address. Doesn't necessarily have to be early if we think Sadiq Charles is a tackle. The next position is free safety. I think this is another position where it's not a huge need, but we could upgrade it. Jeremy Reeves and DeShazier Everett played solid last year, but there are some intriguing options this year in the draft. I really like Richie Grant out of UCF. He's very versatile, played really well in the Senior Bowl, and this past season had about 70 tackles, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 3 interceptions. Another great option is Andre Sisco out of Syracuse. He's a good option. Javon Holland out of Oregon, another very versatile guy who sometimes even lines up in the slot as a corner. He's a good option. So free safety doesn't necessarily have to be early. Even Trevon Moehrig, he's going to be a first round option. I would prefer not to draft the safety in the first round, but if they really, really like him, maybe they decide to do that. But I think a safety, with some high upside in that third to fourth round range would be a good idea because you have some guys that can be solid right now in DeShazier Everett and Jeremy Reeves, but if you get someone with high upside, maybe they can potentially, start over one of those two guys. So the last position I think is running back, and we don't need a starter, obviously. Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic are a great 1-2 punch, with Antonio Gibson being the first and second down guy, and J.D. McKissic being that third down back. But I think addressing that in the later rounds, 5th at the earliest, maybe in that 7th round range, getting a running back for depth that can provide a burst if Gibson's out, or if Gibson needs a little bit of a rest, or if Gibson gets hurt, because you guys saw what happened this past year when Gibson was out. Our running game just wasn't the same, and J.D. McKissic is fine, and Peyton Barber, they're fine in the run game, but you don't want them to get more than 10 carries a game if Gibson's out. You want someone that can take on those carries, and I like Trey Sermon. Had 7.5 yards per carry. I don't think he's going to be there in the 5th, but if he was, I would like him. Another guy, a late round guy, Jake Funk, a lot of you guys know from Maryland. He would be a good option in the later rounds. Maybe if he's there in the 7th round, I would like him. There's a bunch of different options at the running back position, and running back is a great position to draft in the later rounds because there's so many guys that end up being studs that are either undrafted or drafted in the later rounds, like 7th round or later. So those are kind of the 5 positions that I think we need to upgrade, our biggest weaknesses heading into the draft, being linebacker, tight end, possibly tackle if if they view him as a guard, free safety, and running back. You could, throw in maybe another outside receiver, but I think at the moment we are fine. We'll see what, Kelvin Harmon and AGG end up doing. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you guys are new. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And comment down which, in order, your top 5, positions of need for the Washington football team. So thanks for watching, and peace.